warm welcome to the Gavel. I'm Linda Akivi. It's no longer news that Donald Trump is the president-elect of the United States of America. However, I'm sure many Americans and even Nigerians are still adjusting to this reality after a nerve-wracking presidential election. We spoke with some federal lawmakers to learn how they feel about Donald Trump's victory at the polls and what to expect from him during his tenure. The U.S. presidential election left the world spellbound. Many Nigerians held vigils, monitoring who would emerge in the keenly contested and nerve-wracking U.S. presidential election. Hours after Donald Trump emerged as the 45th U.S. president, some lawmakers and government officials bared their minds on his victory.
I was one of those who made the permutation against all odds that he will win, because I saw it coming. I saw the message he had. He had a big message for the American people. Whether you like to say that it is for the whites or for those people called redneck, the message was, I will give you back your country.
From the perspective of the person I thought was best qualified to be president of America and of the free world, I felt disappointed. From perspective of a woman, being a woman, and having a qualified woman like Hillary Clinton run for that office and come so close to it and is unable to take it, I felt disappointed.
Shock, disbelief, and what happened to the polls? What happened to competence? What happened to experience? Nigeria, the USA, they have demystified democracy, and all the things that we thought will contribute to choosing a competent president, they have been turned upside down.
That's what democracy is all about. We just have to live with it, and we hope he will conform to the rules that they have and not go out of the system from what he's saying, that immigration, building the wall, Muslims and all these things, that he doesn't go ahead and implement those things that he said. And I'm sure that they have a system and have a structure in place that he cannot go outside that structure.
It's going to bring a lot of changes in America, a lot of changes in the sense that a lot of policies in American governance are going to be changed. Because if you watch Trump's campaign, he wants to make America great again. And that is what everybody believed, that more especially in the fight of terrorism, he's going to fight it to the last of his blood, because he has promised the whole world that he's going to eradicate ISIS out of the planet of this world.
Shock and shock. Why? Because I never gave it a thought. It didn't, I'm sorry, but it didn't make sense to me. I never looked that direction. There was no reason to look that direction. I saw everything about him as anti-human beings and even anti the American society. So there was no way I would have looked the direction of Trump. Meanwhile, you had a woman who was qualified in all sense of it. She's been secretary to state, she's been a female senator, she's been a wife of a president, and in the positions that she handled, she had protected to the best of her ability the American value. So I didn't for once give Trump a thought.
It is surprising because it goes against the grain of the opinion polls, which we'd all been following assiduously. It is also surprising, given the way and manner in which the campaign was conducted, and it was hoped that a number of demographics would have shifted towards Hillary Clinton.
Sentiments or trivialities do not determine the race for winning in an election. It depends on the concentration of the people, what they think is their core values, what they think is their expectation, what they think that the candidate have lived up to reality.
They say there are lessons to be learned from Mr. Trump's victory at the polls.
Trump's language before the election definitely didn't endear him to many people. Scared a lot of people. And yet he's got this massive support, which means there's something fundamentally wrong, and some of us have been complaining even here for 30 years. the economic theories we're practicing are hurting too many people. And so there's a lot of anger, and people are looking for a way to express it. In this country, for instance, interest rates have remained averagely at 25-30% for 30 years. It's impossible for young people to dream dreams and achieve them. The rural areas are emptying, hunger is increasing. Only a small number of people have access to wealth. And so the rest are complaining, but nobody is listening. That's what has happened now. Because even though America is a powerful country, the wealth is in the hands of the people in the stock exchange and the people in the big business people. The ordinary people have had a rough time. Even the blacks didn't turn out to vote. They've lost hope.
Reservations or not, Donald Trump is the president-elect of the United States of America. In the coming days, as he begins his term, Nigerians would find out how he intends to engage with Nigeria and the rest of the world. Federal lawmakers in the Senate and the House of Representatives gave attention to some controversial bills during the week. One of them is the grazing bill. Now, this bill at some point generated heated debate with some Nigerians firmly against the federal government setting up grazing reserves for herdsmen, and some others are in support of the grazing bill. Now, the aim of setting up the reserves was a means to end the persistent clashes between cattle herdsmen and farmers, which have claimed the lives of many Nigerians. Well, the bill to establish grazing reserves came up in the Senate during the week. So let's see how it played out.
The National Assembly handled some controversial bills and motions during the week. First is the grazing bill, which many Nigerians have condemned and many others also applauded. Proposals for grazing bills were put together following attacks by herdsmen on farmers in different parts of the country. Scores of Nigerians have been killed in these clashes between herdsmen and farmers, leading to calls for government to address the issues which gave rise to these attacks.
Because the issues at stake here are neither in the exclusive list or in the concurrent list.
However, the Senate withdrew a bill seeking to establish a grazing management agency which would ensure the creation of grazing areas across the country. The bill, which was sponsored by Senator Arabi Kwankwaso, was withdrawn with two other similar bills sponsored by Senators Barnabas Gamade and Chukwuka Utazi. While Senator Gamade's bill seeks to establish a National Ranches Commission for regulation, preservation and control of ranches, Senator Utazi's bill is seeking to control keeping and movement of cattle in Nigeria. However, the bills were withdrawn as lawmakers noted that they all had different objectives and could not be merged. Also, the Deputy Senate President pointed out that the Senate lacks the power to legislate on livestock and grazing matters, which the bills are intended to address.
If you go to second schedule of the Constitution, now you see the legislative list, and we cannot go beyond the Schedule 2 to make laws for the Federation, because the issues at stake here are neither in the exclusive list or in the concurrent list. So I believe, therefore, it is a residual matter for states to decide how to deal with. I believe the matter here is of concern to everybody, given the level of carnage and the conflict going on in different states. So I feel the concern of my colleagues, but unfortunately, we do not have powers to legislate on matters related to livestock in this assembly. It's a matter reserved for the states. So I believe that both the bill from Kwankwaso, Gamade, and Utazi is beyond the reach of this National Assembly and should be accordingly withdrawn, so that the states, under the Constitution, should be able to deal with the matters which the Constitution has prescribed for them. I would like to see somebody to show me anywhere in the exclusive list or concurrent list that has given us powers to legislate on these matters, because they are not existent.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives says there is no Sharia law bill before the House. The spokesman of the House, Rep. Abdulrazak Nemdas, speaking with journalists in Abuja, however, says there is a proposed amendment to the Constitution that is yet to be sent back to the House. Recently, concerns have been raised about a bill before the House which proposes to increase the powers and jurisdiction of Sharia law in Nigeria. The lawmakers, however, said that it is wrong to say a Sharia bill has passed second reading in the House.
Please, gentlemen, we don't have a bill in the House of Representatives that is called a Sharia law bill. We don't have. What we have is that somebody, a member on the floor of the House, made a proposal to amend Constitution. And this was referred to Special Committee on the Review of the Constitution, which I'm also a member. Now, it actually talks about trying to amend certain section of the Sharia. But as it is referred to a committee. And if the committee decides that this is not worth a bill, it will not even come back to the House. And once the committee decides on it that it will now come on the floor of the House as a bill. And it's at that time that we will now say there is a bill so before the House, which will require a vote of 2/3, and not only here, and all the houses of the House of the state's houses of assembly. So it's not correct for people to say that a Sharia bill has passed second reading in the House of Representatives. It has not.
Now let's take a look at more of the activities in the House of Representatives during the week.
The House of Representatives is asking President Muhammadu Buhari and authorities of the Nigerian Army to confer the posthumous rank of Brigadier General on Lt.Col Muhammad Abu Ali, who was killed in an attack by Boko Haram last week. This followed the consideration of a motion presented as a matter of urgent public importance by Representative Abu Samad Dasuki, who is also requesting that the national monument be named after the late officer.
Nigerians are now united in grief in recognition of the heroic feat of the casualties, among them Lt.Col Muhammad Abu Ali. He was killed in action alongside 6 others, namely Sergeant Muazu Ibrahim, Sergeant Husseini Jafaru, Sergeant Basi Okon, Corporal Chukwu, Simon, Able Seaman Patrick Paul, and Private Salisu Lawal. Ali died as the commanding officer of the 272 Task Force Tank Battalion of the Nigerian Army. As confirmed by the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, yesterday at the funeral, at his oration, he said Ali and his men led the operations to liberate Munguno, Baga, New Marte, Bama, Goza, Banki Junction, Gambaru Ingala, Yale, Yantake, Bita Derua, Dera Kangarua, and Malam Fatori. Though many have fallen in the ongoing war against terror, the stories of this young officer have been motivating, and from the testimonies of his colleagues and military, he was an exemplary figure in life as he is in death. Having paid the highest price payable in defense of one's nation, the question that has come to haunt us is a befitting way to immortalize such valor.
The House also passed a resolution that the 6 slain soldiers who were killed alongside Ali be posthumously promoted to the next rank. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives Committee on Lake Chad is to organize an investigation into allegations of mismanagement and misappropriation in the Lake Chad Basin Commission. According to a motion which was considered by the lawmakers and sponsored by Representative Omosode Igbenedion, the commission is carrying out its functions in a way that is compromising the interests of Nigeria.